Okay, this is the Mat 1100 review for the Chapter 1 test. In problem number 1, you are going to be converting a percentage into a decimal. So in order to make this percentage symbol disappear, all you have to do is slide this decimal 2 places to the left, which is the equivalent of dividing by 100. This would be the quicker way, which would make the decimal appear right in front of the 5. So you'd have 515, and at that point you'd be into a full decimal with no percentage sign. Okay, next problem, number 2. Write this as a decimal. When you do not see a decimal, it is said to be all the way at the end. So to make this into a decimal, you're going to have to do just what we did in problem number 1. Move it 2 places to the left. That'll make this percentage go away, resulting in just 4.31. Number 3, write as a decimal. Same thing as numbers 1 and 2. So again, to get rid of the percentage sign, you are going to move this 2 places to the left. In moving it 1 place, you're in front of the 0, then you run out of numbers to move around so that you supply your own 0, making this number 0.0097. Percentage is now gone. Okay, so I've given you several of each type just so you have extra problems to practice on. In numbers 4 and 5, you are going back the other way and writing it as a percent. So now we want the percent symbol to appear. You can either multiply the present decimal by 100, or you can just slide it over 2 places to the right. So in sliding this 2 places to the right, the decimal would be right in front of the 6. So you'd have 0.696%. Moving on to number 5. Decimal is right in between the 7 and the 3. Converting into a percentage, sliding it 2 places to the right. So it's 2731. The decimal is now in between the 1 and the 7. You can put the comma here and the percent symbol. So 2731.7%. That completes 1 through 5. Don't forget that when you're getting ready for this test, you can make a 3x5 index card, fill it in front and back if you'd like, and you might want to have one example where you're getting rid of a percent symbol by moving to the left, and you can even show yourself these arrows in case you think you're going to forget how to do that. And you can have one example where you are going back the other way and reattaching the percent sign, writing it as a percent. Maybe one of each. Okay, moving on to number 6, where the instructions are still to convert into a percent. Those are the instructions all the way through number 8. So they give you a plain decimal. You're trying to turn it into a percent. And what you're doing when you turn it into a percent is you are just moving 2 places to the right. You're multiplying by 100. So you're going to go move it once to get around the 4. Once again, you have no number here. So now it's going to be 540 after moving that 2 places to the right. And now you can reattach the percent symbol. Okay, so that would just be 540%. Here, you're given 2 problems that have an extra step, and that is that you got to produce the decimal for yourself first, like you see here, then turn it into a percent. So you're going to do this by your calculator. You're just going to press into your calculator 6 divided by 7 in that exact order. Likewise for this one, you'll do top divided by bottom. 6 divided by 7. And I haven't instructed you as to what place to round it to, so I'm going to round it to the 10th place. So I'm going to hold on to this many digits from my calculator, and now I'm going to convert it to a percent by sliding this 2 places to the right. I have rounded it to the 10th place. If I tell you to round this to the nearest whole percent, then it would be 86% with no number after the decimal. That's if I say round it to the nearest whole percent. Okay, likewise here, you're going to put in your calculator 96 divided by 40. And you're going to get a decimal. This is exactly 2.4 in the calculator. And then don't forget, you're going for a percent just like you did in number 7. So you're going to move this 2 places to the right. So that instead of 2.40, it would be 240 with the decimal here at the end. Therefore, you don't need to report it when it's at the end. And then attach the percent symbol. In number 9, you are being given a pie graph, and you are told that it shows the percent of the total population being for 21,600 people living in the given types of housing, and then they show you the different types of housing. So 36% of this population live in apartments, 39% of this population live in single-family homes, 2% live in duplexes, 8% of this population live in townhomes, and 15% of this total population live in condos. So when it says find the number of means multiply of people who live in single family homes, you go and grab the percentage that represents single family homes, which is 39%, but you want to use it as a decimal when you're finding a percentage of a total population. Of means multiply, and you're finding 39% of this population. Okay, so 39%, you put that in your calculator, 0.39 times 21,600. And you get that 8,424 people live in single family houses. I'll just abbreviate. Okay, that's that right there. Okay, that's number 9. Moving on to number 10. Let me just get rid of this stack. I can do it right on the test paper. Okay. Problem number 10. Let's make sure that that's lined up pretty good. Okay, problem number 10, similar problem. You're given a total population. This number of people is what made up this pie graph, and they're saying, again, 31% live in apartments, 41% in single-family homes, 3%, 10% in townhomes, and 15% in condos. This one says round your answer to the nearest whole number. Let's go back and check number 9 to see what it said to round to. Nearest whole number, and we do have it like that. So pay attention to whatever it's asking you to round to as you go through the problems on the practice test as well as the actual test. Okay, we are going to look for living in apartments this time. Don't forget, of means multiply, and you're always multiplying by the total. So you're going to go grab the percentage that represents people living in apartments. That's 31% of the total population that they've given you. Put this in your calculator. And you get that there are 23,033 people living in apartments. And I'll be fine on the test if you just give me the answer. You don't have to write out, you know what I'm writing. This people living in apartments. I'm just trying to be clear about what the answer means. Okay, number 11. Aaron purchased a house for $128,230. Of the $128,230, he spent $25,646 upgrading the original design of the house, and the upgrade cost 20% of what he spent for the house. Find the number of degrees on a circle that represents the cost of the upgrade. Okay, so if you want to find the total number of degrees, you're going to have to do the steps in this order. Number 1, you're going to find out what percentage is being spent on the upgrade. So they say he spent $25,646 upgrading the original design of the house. And this was 20% of what he spent on the house. So one way that you could do this is that you can go in here and you can do 20% of this, which is only going to give you the $25,000 that they've already done for you. So if he has spent 20% upgrading the house, that means you want to do 20% of the total number of degrees that's in a circle, because the question is, find the number of degrees that represents the cost of the upgrade. Well, they've already said that 20% of his money the purchase price was spent, so we're going to do 20%. This is 20%. Of means multiply, and then 360 degrees. So 20% times 360. And you get 72 degrees. So if you were going to draw a circle graph, 72 degrees out of the total 100 and 360 degrees would be devoted to money spent, the 20% he spent on upgrades. Okay, number 12, purchased a car. Of that amount, spent $2,149 for the sunroof, which represents 12.5% of what was spent on the car. Okay, 12.5% of this purchase price was spent on sunroof. See, all of this information is extra information. Really, the question is just find the number of degrees that represents the amount of the sunroof. So, okay, so let's see. Let me write this. So, number of basically what I see students doing is trying to do this in several steps, and you can just get it done in one step. So, number of degrees devoted to sunroof. They've already told you what percentage to use, 12.5%. So I don't know if you want to consider that an extra step, but it's really just 12.5%. And as you've done in several of the problems leading up to number 12, if you want to convert this into a pure decimal, which you need to in order to find degrees, you can't use it in its percent form. You couldn't in 11 and you can't in 12. You just slide this 2 spaces to the left. You get 0.125. That represents 12.5% of a total of 360 degrees. So some students do this as step 1, and then as step 2 they do the multiplication, but you can just slide the decimal quickly off to the side and then really just do one step. So 0.125 times 360, and that is 45 degrees of the total circle would be devoted to sunroof. Number 13, following data gives the distribution for the types of houses in a town containing 27,000 houses. create a pie graph showing the percentage of each type of house in the town. Now this has quite a few steps because they haven't done a lot of it for you. So the first thing you're going to want to know is what is the number that's going to help me create each and every percentage here. And if you're going to find a pie graph showing, you just have to show the percentage of each type of house. They haven't really asked you about degrees or anything like that. So what you can do is for the Cape style houses, you're going to do 6,750. This is the main idea that governs the entire chapter, how to go from fractions to decimals to percents. Okay, you are trying to end up at percent. So there's really 3 steps for each one. Set up the fraction, so it's number of Cape style houses over the total. That's step 1 when you're on your way to a percentage. Step 2 is to get into your calculator and create a decimal out of this. So it's top divided by bottom. This division, the fraction bar means division. So 6,750 divided by 27,000, which is exactly 0.25. And then step 3, as you go to a percentage, you're going to want to slide 2 places to the right. So in sliding this 2 places to the right, that would be 25. The decimal will be at the end, which means you don't need to report it, and then you can attach the percent sign. So that's for Cape style houses. Likewise, you're going to follow those same 3 steps for the Garrison style houses and the split level houses. Okay, so you might want to also on your index card have an example where you're going from percentage, showing yourself that it's the item of interest on the top, number of items of interest on the top compared to, in other words, divided by the total. Total always goes on the bottom. Notice that I'm doing this one the same way. Step 1. These are the number of items of interest, namely the Garrison style houses, divided by the total, just like I did here. Step 2, convert it into a decimal. So 9,450 divided by 27,000. I got 0.35. And then I'm going to slide it 2 places to the right and get 35%. Okay, last percentage are the split style houses. I'm going to take the number of items of interest, the split style houses, divided by the total number of houses in this sample. I'm going to put it in my calculator. Top divided by bottom. 10,800 divided by 27,000. I got 0.40. And that's equal to 40%. So now they want you to take this information and put it on the graph. So based on your knowledge of what 50% is, I mean, everybody would probably realize that 50% is half, be half of this. So if I knew that this was half, you know, half on this side, half on that side, then this would be a quarter. Okay, 50% is half of a circle. This would be 25% because this is half of 50%. So what you could do is you could either put it right out here or you can put it inside this little slice and then you can name it. These would be the Cape style houses. Now I would put degrees on here, but they haven't asked you for that in this problem. Then realizing that this is the other 25% of that first 50, but I need to go a little further. So this right here will represent 25 for the Capes. This will be another 25, but instead of going straight down, let's just swing out a little bit further. This will represent 35% from here to here. And we will put the label of garrisons on it. Garrison style houses. Last piece would be the remainder of the 100%. This adds up to 100%. And this would be 40%. And I guess I'll just follow what I've been doing for the rest of them, putting the percentage on the outside so it's not too crowded, and putting the name of the section inside. So 40% are the split style houses. Okay, and that is number 13. Okay, moving on to 14. In 14, it says a used car dealership sells several makes of vehicles. Refer to the graph. Round the answers to the nearest whole number, whole unit. Okay, if the dealership sold 151 vehicles in a month, how many of them were Chevys? Okay, so we want to concentrate on the Chevy bar. 20% of the total sales. This is the total sales for the month. 20% of those were Chevys, but he wants to know exactly how many. What does 20% represent? Does that mean out of the 71 he sold 12, 15, 30? So you're going to use the percentage combined with the total number. So when you want to find the exact number of Chevys, you would go 20% of the total, and you see that this is a sort of problem that's come up several times already just in getting to number 14. Put that in your calculator. So it's 0.20 times 171. So yes, you could say that 20% of his sales were Chevys, or you could say the exact number of Chevys that were sold, which according to the calculator is 34.2, but this said round it to the nearest whole number, which is closer to 34 Chevy vehicles that were sold. And I'm just gonna, this is really not the right grammar, so I'm just gonna say 34 of the Chevy vehicles were sold. Okay, there we go. Now going to number 15, family began. Now this is just a sideways bar graph rather than a vertical bar graph. This is a horizontal bar graph. Following chart shows the result for the first 7 months of the year. We're keeping track of monthly income. The question is, in what month did the percent decrease from the previous month? Okay, so what you want to look for is in which months. Now see that this means that there may be more than one answer. So you want to look at the bar and look for situations where the following bar is less than the one that you were just looking at. So from here to here, that's not true. And then from here to here, that's not true. It's not going down, this compared to this. And then from here to here, not going down. From here to here, it's not decreasing. From here to here, it's decreasing. So in June, the percentage had decreased when compared to the previous month. So June would be the answer. Let's see if there's any others. Okay, when you compare June to July, nope, this is not less than the previous month. So the answer is June. That is the 1 month where the sales were decreased as compared to the month that was above it. Okay, number 16. Chuck had saved $364 at the bank. He wants to save $2,300 for a trip to Alaska. What percent of his goal has been reached? Okay, again, they're asking for percent, and there are 3 steps leading up to a percent. Step 1, set up the fraction. He has saved $364 out of the $2,300, which is his goal, his savings goal. Okay, you can ignore these. 364 divided by 2,300 gives you 0.1 5, 8. This problem does not say what to round to, so I am going to round to the 10th place. And if you're not sure where to round, you could always come up and ask me. If I round to the 10th place, that's why I held on to, let's see, I would actually need 4 digits to round to the 10th place. So you would have these 4 digits, get right in there. In order to create a percent, you'd be right here. I said I was going to round to the 10th place, and that means I'm considering what to do with this. Leave it alone or push it up. That's why I kept this 4th digit. So this is equivalent to 15.8%. Okay, that's to the nearest 10th place because you are trying to refine your skills with regard to rounding. If I say round this to the nearest whole percent, this is closer to 16% than it is to 15%. So you're going to round it to 16% if I say the whole number. So again, you can just ask me if you're not sure where to round off to, or if it doesn't say. Then we'll have to make an agreement as to where to round off to. Okay, that completes up to number 16.